So, gentlemen, welcome to ISA Virtual Americas, and thank you for joining. We'll get started with the discussion. Sushil, I'll start the questions with you. So these are obviously uncertain, challenging times. What are you doing at the moment to stay in touch with and to understand your clients? How are they responding? Do you still see interest for fall 2020? Or rather just a deferral to 2021?
So since we went into lockdown in India in March, the first thing that we did to be in touch with our clients was to do a webinar on Facebook and Instagram and tell them relax and wait till we hear more. And what we learned by doing that is there was so much anxiety out there, as institutions didn't know what's happening and students didn't know what's happening and parents didn't know what's happening. And we had to just tell everybody to hold on. So when we talk about clients, I'm actually talking about both. I'm talking about universities as well as students. We had to be in touch with both. And we had to keep engaging them all the time by keeping the relationship going, by communicating with them. With students, we went into virtual counselings, which came in a little bit later. It first started off with this regular phone counseling or WhatsApp communications, and it went into phone call, virtual calls. And then we went into having online fairs, which took a little time to structure in a good manner, but then we got smooth with it, whereby we ran fairs for different parts of India, different destinations, different programs, and including running online sessions on how to, get a loan. We even went into visa guidance online, and we've really been doing a lot of things way beyond our imagination, trying to really take everything online. So social media webinars, etc. So we have been initially, we found when we were doing all this, the students, you want me to stop, Shannon? So, yeah, go ahead. So I'll continue with all three parts, then we can run it. So initially the students, they were very involved. Every time you said you're doing something online, or we were doing a fair, or we were getting them in virtually, they were particular, they made it on time, they attended, the attendance levels were higher. I think then what came in, and many people have experienced it throughout the COVID, is they got started getting tired of Zoom meetings and Zoom sessions and virtual meetings. And it just, the volume of, or the enthusiasm or the involvement started reducing as we get, we're getting to today. So we have 24 offices in India, and right now about 22 of them are functioning. And we've seen that we get calls coming into the office, even though we have a central number that they could call into, but we get students calling into offices. And even in situations where the cities are pretty much not having public transport, we have students coming into our offices who prefer, I think, to come to office rather than being counseled online. And on the third part of the question, if I see interest yet in there for the fall 2020, or have plans being deferred for 21, depending on the destination, but about 30 to 50% of the students in our channel are open to travel online. More close to 30% than 50%. It's more the 50% that I'm trying to push them to get to. And it also depends on where the visa offices open well in time, and where the the flight availability and other stuff. So many have deferred to 2021, but we are yet working on it. I won't say that it is concluded. It's yet a work in progress when we're talking about the Americas. And we hope that we can inch towards actually achieving 50%, but we're quite sure that we will achieve 30% for most of the markets. There is a little bit of fear about a second wave, but everyone has their own opinion about it, whether it will be there, not be there, whether they should travel, not travel. It's all up in the air. When we say change in the popularity of student destinations, I don't think the COVID has made a major shift. That no, I've not seen students because of COVID picking one destination over the other. I've seen uh, like this year because of its policies, UK was anyway expected to do well, and it's doing well because it's come up with a favorable policy for students. Canada was expected to be doing well, and it's doing well. We have not really seen a change because of COVID. Whatever change we are seeing was anyway inherently there.
It's more emphasized, perhaps.
Yeah, and it was internally we did some surveys and we found a few, like actually less than 10% of the students said they would consider a change of destination when we did the surveys, which were 3 months before start date, but it didn't matriculate into anything really serious. So that's on the part of change of destination. And on the concerns, I think the only two big ones that come out is when can we travel? If we can travel, is study online as good or as bad, or will there be a second wave? These are the typical concerns I find so far.
Great, thank you. And you actually mentioned online, which leads me to the next question. So we've seen that many universities have switched to online tuition as they must, basically. How has this been received in India, and do you see any growing demand for it, or is it more of a short-term solution?
There's definitely, I'll take the second part again first. I do not see a growth in online as a market for the future. I do not think online is presently showing any signs of more interest. It's just a short-term solution. The online is there because you cannot get to campus, or it might be a safer option for the moment, keeping in mind the second wave. See, and so online is just being accepted. Now, I also feel that online is going to evolve a lot because it might improve in quality because of the amount of focus that's been given on it. And there is, however, a lot of resistance. Everyone feels that an online program should be cheaper because limited human interaction, no live communication. And that was a big resistance that I found among students, the price. And also, they also have an issue on quality. And beyond that, online they feel is it's just not worth it. Why? And when they start comparing the price, they start comparing the institution's fees with that of a Coursera program or one of the MOOCs, or they start comparing the tuition fee with an Indian program. For example, if you were doing an MBA in USA or an MBA in Canada, they suddenly start comparing the tuition fee of that institution with the online MBA in India, which is like 1/10 of the program cost. So there is a lot of that, and I, as a company, Edwise and myself have done a lot of webinars, and I've even been in press articles and interviews, and really emphasizing, the comparison of online versus offline, what it takes, and I've delivered it actually to every single student who was in the pipeline and invited parents to, and letting them interact and debate. And in short, I think a large number of people have now opened up their eyes to reality and are considering online, but just as a short-term solution.
Sure. Or as a blended solution for those who start online and then when they can travel, continue in person.
Yeah, you're right. Because see, the word blended, hybrid, online, and virtual are not defined, and everyone's going to use it the way they want to use it.
Okay.
Every institution has their own combination of how they're going to offer the program, and that's what I tell students a lot. Also, that the programs, as much variety was there in institution and programs when he was looking at studying on campus. Oh, this is where it's located. This is the faculty. All the same parameters also, occur in online, and you have to look at different parameters. Are there going to be discussion boards? Are there going to be breakout rooms? Are there going to be lectures at your time zone? There's so many flavors to online too. So they need to understand that and then take a decision. So in a little earlier in the era, like in March, April, and May, I was worried about getting commissions because many of the contracts that were there between institutions, specifically those in USA, and they did not elaborate or were not clear. And even today, I don't think all the contracts are clear that there would be commission and the same commission applicable in a scenario like this where the student might start online or might be a hybrid or have etc. And in the case of Canada too. So a clarity on their policy would help. Also, a kind of incentive, because as I said in my earlier point, students prefer a little bit of a scholarship. Now, we are hoping that students make it to study in the US, and we're hoping that they make it to study in Canada and elsewhere, and they reach their start date. But in case they don't, there is they have to start online, and we're trying to tell everybody start online and go when it is convenient rather than go on day one. You don't have to be there for orientation or week 1, 2, 3, you can go when you can. And students should therefore be given a little bit of an incentive. Like there were some institutions that gave an early bird offer, people who committed early. There are some institutions who gave a COVID waiver. There's some who have given concession during quarantine time and different things. So I feel if institutions do something like that, it's just a nice gesture. I know everyone's hurting, but universities, agents, and students are all hurting. But if they can do a little bit of a fee waiver, and lastly, to define very clearly what is going to be on campus, like Abhi said, but also what's going to be online in case they start. Because there's a lot of confusion among students and they don't know how the programs are going to be run. So things like that are going to help us. Even now with that clarity is going to help with conversion of students, because they get a lot of people sitting on the fence. And I'd just like to add, Abhi, I did get a call this afternoon from Education USA about 2 hours ago, and I have been told that consulates are opening up for US visa, and they're going to be starting to interview people as early as tomorrow morning. So it's there for the US. I have had a student for Canada actually land in Canada already. The news is that about 10% are making it through the immigration authorities in India and in Canada. 90% back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also have a student who's actually flown in and is in USA and on campus. There's no problem. But in the case of Canada, they're resisting.
Yeah.
If you can tell me in 1 or 2 sentences, what is the most important trend that you expect to see moving forward?
I think 3 distinct trends that I see happening. One is the hybrid program, whatever way it is currently being taught, or classroom-based education, is going to get a little more online and a little more integrated with hybrid, because the good of class and the good of online will kind of sync and come closer together, not replacing online education or classroom-based education, but improving the quality. I see another big trend happening on students picking more programs that will probably be healthcare focused, maybe medicine research or allied medical, some kind of field, some little trend towards that. And definitely in many business programs, a subject called how do you deal with COVID-19 and similar programs. So these are the 3 things I feel will happen.